Welcome back, Rams. Tonight we're joined by the President and Vice President of the CSU Chapter of the Wildlife Society, and they're here to tell us more about their club and their experiences. Remi and Morgan, how are you?
Doing great. It's good to be here.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you both could make it tonight. Do you want to just start off by introducing yourselves and kind of what you do here at CSU?
I'm Remi Pattyn. I'm a senior here at CSU, and I am a fisheries, wildlife, and conservation biology major, concentrating in wildlife biology.
Yeah, so I'm Morgan Hertel. I'm the Vice President for the Wildlife Society, and I'm a fifth-year student, double majoring in ecosystem science and sustainability, and then also in fish, wildlife, and conservation biology.
Great. Do you want to talk a little more about like your role in the club and then kind of what you get to do?
I am the president of the chapter, and so I get to talk to a lot of folks, send a lot of emails. Whenever I go to conferences, I get to represent my chapter and CSU within the Wildlife Society, and it's a ton of fun.
Yeah, and so as the vice president, I'm in charge of deciding who comes and talks to the chapter, so I get to reach out to people and ask them to share their experiences with us at our bi-weekly meetings, and then I just try to set up fun events. So yesterday, for example, we had a trivia and movie night, which was really fun. So that's what I do.
Yeah, that trivia movie night sounds really fun. So now that we kind of know more about what you do and like your roles here with the Wildlife Society, do you want to explain a little more about what the Wildlife Society actually is?
Yeah, the Wildlife Society is an international organization of wildlife professionals and enthusiasts. There's biologists, park rangers, students, photographers, politicians that are part of this, and they all get together to share research, jobs, create projects, even pass laws sometimes, and as a student chapter, we're introducing students to that network.
Yeah, so one of our main goals as the Wildlife Society student chapter is to sort of connect, up-and-coming wildlife professionals to that really broad profession. So we're getting them engaged in the Colorado State Wildlife Agency, CPW, or like the Denver Zoo, or just whatever wildlife stuff they're interested in. We're helping get them connected to that.
That all sounds great. It sounds like with the Wildlife Society, you all do a lot of different things. What's one of your favorite things you've done, like either your activities or just kind of something you're proud of from the Wildlife Society?
I guess I can answer that first. So we actually just announced yesterday we have a scholarship, and we are partnering with Knowles, which is the National Outdoor Leadership School. So we are paying for two of our members to get their Wilderness First Aid certification. And it just really sets people apart in any field related to being outside or natural resources. So we're really excited to have this scholarship for our members.
Yeah, and me personally, I love engaging people. I love talking to people. And March of 2020, before the world ended, we got the opportunity to participate in a student chapter conclave where we got to go down to St. George, Utah with a bunch of the other student chapters within the central United States. And we got to camp with them, hang out. We got to do a bunch of different wildlife practices from mist netting and radio telemetry tracking and electrofishing and all that. And we got to see how other chapters work and what they do, what they're up to, and just how different it could be being a student of wildlife, in other parts of the U.S.
Based off what you said, it sounds like there's a lot of great hands-on opportunities for students, and it sounds like you all do a lot. So what would you say to people who want to join the Wildlife Society and kind of be a part of all of this?
Yeah, I would say that we have something for everyone. So if you're interested in working for a government agency, we can help you get started on that. If you're interested in like a specific species and doing research with that, we can connect you to the right people for that. So it really is open to anyone who's interested in any aspect of wildlife. You don't necessarily need to be in the wildlife biology department or even in Warner. It's really open to anyone who likes wildlife.
Yeah, we get graphic design majors, we get our majors, business majors. Anyone who's interested, is come by our meetings and check us out. You'll learn something, you'll meet people. You don't have to make wildlife your entire life and future. We just want, to educate people, and we want everyone to appreciate it.
Yeah, it sounds like a very well-rounded group that you have people from all over. How did you two get involved with it, or kind of where did your passion for wildlife come from?
Yeah, for me, I've always been in and around zoos ever since I was like a little baby, visiting them, and then growing up and volunteering and working in them. And when I got here to CSU, I just showed up at the first meeting, my very first semester here, and I think I've been to every single meeting since. I was a coffee table manager before I became president, and I've been to as many opportunities as possible, and I've gotten a lot of meaningful experiences and made a lot of meaningful relationships out of it, and I just stuck with it, and it's been great.
Yeah, so I guess my intro to wildlife, I grew up on a ranch outside of Yellowstone, and so just interacted with a lot of animals there, so lots of grizzly bears and mountain lions, and I was just like, yeah, this just makes sense. I want to work with these animals because they're so cool. And so I went to a Wildlife Society meeting the first semester that I transferred here, so I am a transfer student. And then I couldn't go to the meetings because they're on Tuesdays, and I worked every Tuesday. And then last year, one of the nice things about COVID was that my work went online, so I was actually able to run for a position, and I got it, and it's totally changed my life. So.
Great. Yeah. So I know you've kind of, or I bet with like Colorado being so close to the mountains and having all these opportunities, definitely it definitely makes things easier being here. So kind of what's your goals for this group? Like what do you hope for the future?
Yeah, for me primarily, I just want to open people's eyes. A lot of folks, when they start getting into wanting the wildlife career, they think I want to be a game warden, I want to be a biologist. There's so much more you can do. There's folks who are out there restoring habitat. There's folks out there who are having to communicate and educate folks. There's people out there who are having to, breed and raise a lot of these endangered species in captivity. And these are all paths that they don't think of. And for me, I want to open people's eyes as to what they can do,
Yeah, and I think specifically being in Colorado, we're trying to get people interested in Colorado wildlife because I think people, are really interested in these big charismatic species like elephants and polar bears, and while they are really awesome and definitely need our help, we have a lot of really cool wildlife here in Colorado and really close to Fort Collins too. So we try to get people in that and get them excited about those.
Colorado's definitely a great place to be for all of this. There's a lot going on in our state and especially nearby. What would you say or would you want to recap some of kind of your most recent events and some of the most kind of recent things you're proud of within the Wildlife Society?
Yeah, so I mentioned the scholarship, so I'm really excited about that. That was one of my main goals coming into this position. And we do have, we go raptor monitoring every other Sunday. So we had a outing this past Sunday, and we saw 7 red-tailed hawks and a bunch of eagles. So that was really fun.
Yeah, going back to raptor monitoring, it's a project that CPW's been running for a multitude of years. Every state park has a group dedicated towards being there and watching raptors, what they're doing, where they are, why they're there, and we have been doing it at Boyd Lake State Park in Loveland for, I think, 5 years. And we just recently were at the conference at the CPW headquarters in Denver. So we got to meet a lot of folks. We got to meet the new coordinator. That's just one example of us connecting with agencies like that. We are currently planning a bighorn sheep count, which we do every December for CPW. And that's going to be a super exciting opportunity to bring back.
Sounds like, yeah. I feel like based off what we've all talked about, it sounds like there's so much going on with this club and so many great ways for students to get involved. I think that's all the time we have, unfortunately, but thank you so much, Morgan and Remi, for joining us. We have another break coming up, but don't worry, Madison's got another edition of Who Are You at CSU coming up.